I always wanted to meet Mick Cripps. Always liked his whole demeanor, kind of like darker, more like behind the scenes. Kind of had a sort of like a, I don't know, almost like a Ron Wood meets like Izzy Stradlin meets, not Wasp, no, not definitely not Wasp. Like the Smiths or something. I mean, just like rock guitarist, of course, LA Attitude, of course, but sort of a gothy kind of. I had a like a, and then of course Vicious Circle, that record, and then coming back for the, was it Black Beauties? But there was an album that LA Guns did as a reunion that was sounding like very like electronic-y, very like sort of gloomy. It was on Cleopatra. It was on Deadline. So actually, is Deadline Cleopatra? I think it is. Yeah. Oh shit! No, wait a minute. Was it on Deadline or was it on Paris? It wasn't on CMC because I'm pretty sure that the record with Chris Vandal was the one and only CMC release. I don't think they had a multi-record deal with CMC because I think Man on the Moon did not have. I think they were already with either Spitfire or Spitfire or Paris, because I think the CMC thing only lasted one. I don't. Did they even? I'm almost positive that American Hardcore was on CMC. I'm pretty sure it was on CMC. But no, I mean, everything he's done that I can recall has been bluesy, and I think bluesy is where we're at. It's not goth, but it's real bluesy. It's like real, like, it's kind of somber. I don't know, I wouldn't call it goth, but it's really bluesy rock type, And what's crazy is that Tracy and Mick wrote some really good stuff, and Mick and Kelly wrote some really good stuff, and his role is relegated to practically like nothing. I mean, nothing. Like they don't talk, nobody talks about Mick Cripps at all. And Kelly Nichols, until he came back, nobody talked about him either. And that's not the way that it was in the 80s. That's not the way that it was in the early 90s, but that's the way that it is now. Why do you suppose that is? And why do you suppose Steve's name was also barely mentioned? I don't like when lead singers and lead guitar players sort of, I don't know. I don't like what's going on with LA Guns. I think that it's just so dysfunctional because Steve and Tracy basically came back, were the only people that wanted to do anything with the Marks, and they took them over. I don't know. Is that even legal? I don't know, but how is that legal? I mean, unless everybody sold their share. I don't think anybody at LA Guns actually, I don't know how that works. I don't know. That's, I guess, not for this video, but when it was Steve and Tracy, I mean, really good records, definitely. I mean, American Hardcore was very different, but good, really good. I was kind of like their Motley '94 album, basically. It was different, but it was good. But I mean, I just think like it's just wrong. I think I mean, why do you guys have to? I mean, I don't know. I just feel like, how can you make somebody that was so important in your band in the past? Kiss does this too with Ace and Peter, and just make it as if they were nothing. I mean, do you even know who wrote Ballad of Jane? I mean, like, that Kelly wrote most of that, like what, 95% of it, and that's your biggest hit. But yet Kelly's alive, he's doing well, he's healthy, but no, you would never ask him to join you guys. You would never ask Mick. Why? Just have all these hired kids. They weren't even born, some of them. when LA Guns was on top. It's a disservice. You can't now you can't tour with Steve Riley because he passed away. Legendary rock drummer, Wasp drummer, way bigger than you guys when he met you, but he saw something, and look how you did him. I just really bothers me. Now we can't see a reunited LA Guns. They're like, oh, put Nicky Alexander. If Nicky Alexander was so good, he wouldn't have lost his seat behind the kit. And that even further points how important Steve Riley was to LA Guns, because you had a drummer and you fired your drummer and you got him because he was better. And maybe Nicky was a better punk drummer, but this is not punk rock. Okay, so it is how it is. You know, same thing for Paul Black. I'm freaking had a mind blank there. I know who Paul Black is. I celebrate Paul Black. I celebrate everything he's done. Just had a little mental break there, a little pause, playing with my other phone. And I'm not gonna like stop the video and redo it. That's fake. I mean, I had a mental block. I'm gonna keep it on there. Keep it real. But I mean, you know, Paul Black doesn't. If Paul Black would have been the singer of LA Guns, they wouldn't have gone anywhere. And that may sound really bad for Paul, but I'll put it to you this way. If Stephen Pearcy hadn't been the singer in Aerosmith, those guys would never have gotten that big. Or if Rob Halford was the singer of Warrant. Actually, that's actually not a good, forget I said that. Because, you know, people say that Rob, you know, with Janie there, but we're friends, a special kind of friend. Get you arrested, Rob, if you did it. But I wish somebody would ask you, Rob, straight up about that. But I don't think anybody's got the guts. I'd ask you in a heartbeat. There's no harm in asking, right? But basically, yeah, they had the band. They had the Cocked and Loaded lineup. That's LA Guns. For all intents and purposes, that's LA Guns. And now they can't have it because Steve's no longer with us. So, you know. Anyways, I want to keep it classy. I don't want to, but really, you guys like ignoring Mick CRIPPS, ignoring Kelly Nichols, now ignoring Steve. At least Phil Lewis wrote something on the page. I don't think Tracy even wrote anything. It's just like, those guys were brothers and they were doing American hardcore and touring the LA Guns name. They were like literally brothers. And then Phil Heath, that's Phil Heath, that's the bodybuilder. What's his face? Phil Lewis came back, remember, and stayed with Steve for a long time and talked trash about Tracy. And then Hot Potato went over to Tracy's camp and they started talking shit about Steve. And all the while, you know, Phil's a hired gun. He doesn't even have an ownership stake, supposedly, in LA Guns. Only Tracy and Steve do. So, it's very, very bizarre, to say the least. Very dysfunctional band. Mick CRIPPS, incredibly talented guitar player, songwriter, and people have to look him up. You said Mick Mars? No, I said Mick CRIPPS. Mick CRIPPS. Mick CRIPPS is what I said.